back. I hope you're wrapping up a great summer, or if you've already started, I hope you're having a wonderful homeschool year or kickoff to it. We've actually been in homeschool for 3 weeks. We were in a summer immersion for French, and so now we're taking a week break, which is why this video is late, because I had jet lag like you wouldn't believe. I always get so sleepy when I fly west as opposed to east, so it was hard for me to recover. So when this video comes out, the very first day, it will be our first day back in country in school and for like more traditional homeschool stuff. As always, I will timestamp everything, so if something's not of interest to you, you can skip right over it. Also, I sound better than I look, so I know a lot of you guys listen to this like a podcast as opposed to watching, because I get kind of choppy when I want to chop stuff and make it sound faster. The video gets all screwed up. But you know this. If you know me, you know this already. But if you do not know me, I should do my spiel, shouldn't I? I haven't done my spiel in a long time, and I've got it memorized. So here we go. Hello. If you don't know me, my name is Jill, and I'm the homeschool mom to a now 6th grader, and we homeschool specifically to learn a foreign language, and this is our 3rd year of homeschool. So we left regular school after the end of 3rd grade. We love our school, and we still keep in touch with them, and we do things with them, and Morgan takes band and sports and stuff with them. But in order to teach Morgan a foreign language, I needed to bring her home for homeschool, and we've been doing that for the 4th grade, the 5th grade, and now the 6th grade. So I will timestamp everything as usual. If you don't like something, just move on and skip over it. And I will read the lineup, but I have to, more and more, you guys, I rely on my reading glasses. So I know it's kind of reflective and annoying, but it's better than not being able to read. So here we go. The lineup is school supplies. I really want to cover school supplies. I know it's not very like homeschooly. It's not school. It's school supplies. But we all love it, don't we? I do, and I know many of you do. Also, I kind of wanted, it's not just new school supplies. I want to show you the stuff that I had shown you last year, but and that really worked out really, really well. We love the stuff. So old and new. A little bit about summer stuff. I know there aren't a lot of people who really are into French or foreign languages, but those of you who are really, really into it. So separately, I can talk about that as well. So a little bit of summer stuff. What's changed? A lot of people have asked me to do, if I've changed anything, what is that? If I've rethought stuff over the summer. The first week's schedule, what that's going to look like. I want to revisit our motto and our mission statement, because I think it's really I think it's important to do that. If I kind of treat homeschool like a small business, and as a small business, you need a mission statement. The mission statement is checked every year. It's a living document. And thankfully, our mission statement is still the same. So that's kind of cool. I want to talk about the books that we read. Morgan's book that she chose to read as a personal reader, her first personal reader for the 6th grade. And also the read aloud that I've chosen as the first one of the 6th grade, which I'm really excited about. Plays, I'd like to talk about that also. And the PDF below I've attached. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I have a few PDFs, and one is my hundreds list, my hundreds classics list. That's also a living document, so it can change. I can have classics drop off the list, or I can add them. But essentially, my personal and professional goal as a homeschool mom is to give Morgan 100 classics before she launches out of here in the 12th grade. And so I have that list, and I build on it. And as I learn more or we change, it changes. And then that informs my list of like after the fact. So on that one, on the list of what we've read, it covers the 4th grade, all of Morgan's read alouds, all of her personal reads, the poetry we've read, and now I'm adding plays. So that's covered for all of the 4th grade and all of the 5th grade, and then I'm starting to populate the one for 6th grade. I won't put it down in the videos all of the time, because I kind of explained why before. This is like a tricky thing with attachments and stuff sometimes, especially if you change them. So what I'll probably do is it's attached to this video, and maybe maybe at the end of the school year, I will attach the final one, or have an update, do maybe just one a semester, to update it once a semester to you guys, even though I keep it updated. What else? Anything else? And anything else, like everything but the kitchen sink, because I'm only doing videos now once a month. I have a lot of interests, competing interests. I have gained a lot of energy since I have finished a certain portion of my life and have now gained energy back again. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do stuff. I'm ready for more personal and professional. I mean, I'm kind of semi-retired, but I still call it professional development. I take myself seriously and how I build, because even if you're going to be a homeschool mom, your kids are watching what you do, right? And I want to make sure that my kid sees that I'm always figuring stuff out. I'm always doing something. I'm always going somewhere. And now I have a lot of energy for that. But because of that, I'm moving to one homeschool video a month, because I love doing homeschool videos. I really do. And I think the more we get, we're in the 6th grade now, and the higher the grade, the fewer the homeschool moms are on YouTube. It's like, it's kind of there's a correlation to the whole thing. And there are probably several reasons for that too. But in order for me to continue to do it and not have burnout, I'm just going to do once a month. With that, this will be a really long video. So, if you don't want to listen for an hour or hour and a half, then just take it in chunks or find a better YouTube mom. I don't know. But there's tons of awesome YouTube moms out there. And I encourage you, if you want to do videos, you should, because we don't have enough of them. We don't have enough of them. So these are the things I want to talk about. Let's start with school supplies, and we'll do books, right? I think those are like the top 2 really cool things to do. For school supplies, let's start with papers. I showed you guys this last year. It's essentially plastic pages, and you use, the friction pens we all use. Actually, there's friction stamps too. So you can stamp little pandas and use friction pens on the paper. And I think there's 30 pages or 30 papers. So there's 60 sides. So it's a lot of paper, and then you're done. You erase it, and it's lightweight. And I had kept this in my purse, but then when I switched out purses, I lost it forever. It drove me nuts. I was just about to buy another one because I really like this for homeschool, for when I'm in the car or somewhere and I just want to jot down some notes. So I have it back again, and I love it. These I like because they're horizontal. So I got these on Amazon. This would be like more of a vertical book, but I absolutely love this book for planning. So my husband took a few as well, so he likes these for planning also. They're just wonderful. I visually do better, I think, with a wider, shorter page than a longer page, and I use more of it as opposed to wasting. So these work great, and I have a whole bunch of them. They weren't that expensive. They were all of these were under 20 bucks, and I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 10 of them. I don't think that was that bad. And then the campus papers or pages I got from these books, I got from Jet Pens, and these are, what is this, A5? Is that what that is? And I like this because I don't know if you can see it, but there's teeny little dot marks. So if you want to, I don't have, of all these things, I can't find a ruler. Here we go. You can line it up and it won't be wonky because you can line up those tiny little dots if you need to use your notebook for also some kind of sciencey thing or a graph or anything. So I have these because they're also lightweight and they're thin. And I'm trying to find things that we can use that we can just grab and go as well that don't weigh me down. This is from Paperage. We're almost out of these. You've seen these before. And this is just a great, oh, I didn't know it was there. This is just a great junk book. I pick these up all of the time, and when they're done, we just chuck them. EcoQua. We love EcoQua. I got 2 sizes. This is more a Waldorf standard size, and I really did get these because I didn't want to really bother with the Waldorf books, although they're the same price. I'm sure they're really good. But I like these. They don't take watercolor they will take watercolor, but not that well. They will go through if you work the watercolor, but they're great for acrylics. They're great for just pencil. They work really well for friction pens, but it's a kind of a multi-use, multi-purpose book, and I use them in art. So and they're very lightweight, and I like the flippy floppiness of them. So I took this on a trip with me. I took this to France, and I tried to do a page a day, and it didn't work out. I only did, I think, 13. But this is all watercolor and ink and crayon And what else? I didn't bring acrylics, and it didn't bleed through. So that works really well. They also come lined and dotted, so you can get the lined books also, but I have the blank books. And I just got a bunch so that I wouldn't run out. So that's the paper. I did forget to cover these. I have a whole bunch of little stickies, but I get tired of the general colors over and over. The repetitive color bothers me. And so I got more earth tones this year, just because it's an aesthetic thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'd be fine with normal sticky notes. And then the same with these teeny little notebooks that we just go through like crazy around here for my husband and his job and my planning and stuff. And they just go really quickly. And something that drove me absolutely crazy last year is I have a bazillion erasers and could never find one of them when I needed one. So I wonder who the culprit is. So I got a whole ton of these. Oh, but before I forget, okay, so a lot of you have mentioned, where's the pencils? Okay, the Blackwing. So I love these Blackwing pencils, and I have the really dark one, like super dark. You do not need to buy replacer erasers for this really dark pencil, because the pencil, I guarantee, will wear out before the eraser. But if you do, if you get the other types or the other different types of graphite, then what you can do is, let me see if I can pull, yeah, you can pull this out. But do you see how much there's left here? So don't waste it. Get a piece of paper and jam it in there and then put it back. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah. So let's just say I had used all that down, and then that's all the new eraser. So you really, if it gets really low, before you replace it, that's a lot of eraser. Before you replace it with a replaceable one, make sure you use up all that you have. But the only way you can do that is by placing something in here so that the eraser doesn't fall back down. That's just a little trick I learned. I love erasers. This is our favorite one, the General's Tri-Tip. This one, when you erase it down, it's a pineapple. I know, this is weird, I know. This is really soft. This is the kind that you can ball up into, you can move it around. And then just a ton, a bazillion of them. You get the point. This is my all-time favorite one. This is also, I guarantee, is going to be my favorite one because I like the little stuff. And then, does anybody want to bet how long it will take before I complain about not having any pencil sharpeners? I think it's going to be the end of September. Oh, and then these are retractable and very tiny. And so Morgan had been complaining. She was getting annoyed because she needed to just tidy up something or just erase one letter, and that's all she wanted. But every time she did, she erased the whole word. And so I saw these and thought, well, I bet she'll like these. So I got 2 of those for her. Now, if you have multiple kids, because I just have the one, and I find writing the date on everything, especially if you need to track it for a portfolio, is super annoying. And so I got a whole bunch of just different colored ink pads and a date stamp, so that every day we just flip the number and done. We don't have to write the date over and over again. So this is something that can really save you a whole lot of time. I mean, unless you have a kid who needs to, this isn't for littles. You do want a kid to write the date so that they get used to it and stuff. But when they're older and you need to still put a date on something, but you're sick of writing it on every page, these are great. Now for highlighters, because I do love the highlighters, we had these last year and they came in the form of, these are some of them. The other ones are used up. This is the remainder of what I had last year. And so this one is, I don't remember what kind those were. Well, they're Rytec, but I don't remember the color that those were. And these are vintage. So these are a replacement, essentially the same as, but I do love the brown. So I know I can guarantee the brown and the green are gonna go like super fast. But I like them because I love the retractability of them. I can't stand this, although I do like this color. I can't stand that I have to have a cap that I hold. Even though I can put it at the top, still it annoys me. But these are all of our, oh, and this is kind of nice because I had these last year and we're almost out. They're almost out. But these are, they make little dots, but you can also it's a highlighter, but it also dot checks things. And so we use these a whole ton. And I think these are Zig's clean color dot, and we had 6, and I think we only have these 3 left. And these Stabilos I got because of the tone. And I can tell you that these will be gone in a second. And then this one I got for fun because it smells like a banana, but it's retractable also. And then I'm always using up the yellow highlighter, and I do really like the brown tone for my books. This I had shown you last year. It's a Lamy fountain pen. It's wonderful. I got it on sale for like less than $10 because this was the one, this was the tester one in Barnes & Noble that they were getting rid of because everybody else had used it, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's a medium nib, and it bleeds a lot through through certain types of paper. So I got a real cheapy one. This is a Bic, and it's kind of cool because this is the more traditional way of loading a cartridge. And this is really kind of neat. Let me see how I do it. There we go. You pull on it and then lift it up, and then the ink goes in here. You drop it down, and when you lock it in place, it ruptures the top, and then you get, this is more of a fine point, and it bleeds less. Also, because of the ink that I chose, the nice thing about it is not only does it bleed less, but it has a Bic eraser and corrector. So then if you made a mistake, you just erase it, and you can't write over it again because it'll just erase your ink again. So you use this as the corrector. And that's fun. I like that a lot. Although these dry out, so you have to be careful. Oh yeah, I have another. So I had my eye on this one. It's not that it's expensive. I just had my eye on it because it's fluorescent yellow. It's the Kakuno. Yeah, I like that it's clear. And then instead of, the problem with Pilot is I think these are proprietary, and you can't just use a generic one. So I got a standard just refiller, so I can just put that into ink and draw the ink in from whatever ink I want, and then put it in there. So that's my newest. They have little faces too. Each one has a little different type of face based on the color. Most of this stuff that you haven't seen, if you haven't seen it on Amazon or Walmart or Target, then I got these off of Jet Pens. Now these ended up being way more important than I thought they were going to be. These are Koh-i-Noor's magic pencils, and I just love them. So when I lay down initial marks on my page, let's see, I think I've got a, yeah. I love that I can do that, and it comes out in all different kinds of colors. So I've been wearing these down, and I ordered these. So my originals are in here. They're in the back there. When I was traveling, I found these, which are phenomenal and really, really, really bright colors. They just make me happy. They're triangular, so you need a special sharpener, which will probably also disappear every time I need it. This is fun. If you have a kid who likes to draw, or if you like to draw, these are really fun, and these are very, very, very deeply pigmented. They're just wonderful. We had used several of these last year. These are friction stamps from Pilot, and they're just adorable. So if you have stuff that you just want to check off for fun, you can do that. And if you have a little, like littles who want to do this, but then maybe they make a mistake, this edge here on the bottom is the friction eraser, and it makes the little, well, it's still wet. You kind of have to wait for the stamp to dry before you can erase it. It works just like a friction pen. So we were starting to run out, and we just got new ones on Jet Pens. They're just small and adorable. You actually can buy a little case for them. We didn't do that, but they're fun. And for friction, I don't really enjoy them. I don't really like these. I don't like this. This drives me crazy, and I hate the cap. But I love these colors. I love the brown and I love the maroon of these. So these are still my favorite pens, even though they kind of drive me crazy. But I like the brown, and the brown is kind of harder to find. Incidentally though, the ink isn't. And so these are my more fun, smaller versions. They're really thin, and these are a 0.3, and they're easily replaced. So I actually didn't want this pink one at all. But when the pink, I'm going to give this to Morgan. When the pink runs out, I'm just going to get rid of the this replacement thing and put in a brown one, because you don't have to, I mean, you can have brown ink in a pink pen. So that's the plan for that, is to always keep these plastic outsides, but replace them with whatever color I want on the inside. These are your old tried and true. We've all seen these, right? The Bic with the standard, traditional, old-timey 4 colors. But what I found on jet pens was, let's see what brand this is. This is Unistyle. And the really cool thing is you can choose your color. So I have brown and deep purple and blue black. But then this one is a pencil. Oops, wait a minute. There we go. And then it retracts in. So I know that this is going to be our most favorite writing tool in school. I just know it, because how many times have you had this pen and then you're looking for a pencil? The only thing that I think would be helpful is if there was an eraser on the top or something. That would be kind of fun. But Morgan's got hers, and she has the colors that she chose, so I'll let her place them in there. And she has, mine are 0.3 and I gave her 0.5. So you can change the size of the ink width if you want as well. So those are going to be a big deal. Then these are like little cheapy staple scissors that are my absolute fave. If I lose these, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, we have a ton of scissors, but these are my scissors. And then compass is becoming increasingly important both for art and for math. And so along with that, we've got a whole pack from Mr. Pen. Mr. Pen is awesome. Oh, look, there's another fantastic eraser. There's tons of stuff in here. It was very inexpensive. We're going to use this a lot going into Math UC Zeta as well. And also, I needed to remember that we have my husband's digital microscope. So that's also, I can show a picture or an image of that, but that'll be used for science. Some of you had asked what I use for a microscope, and I actually didn't know. I'm sorry, this is dusty. We haven't used this in a while, and I think it was my best friend who sent this to my daughter. This is a basic microscope. So this is IQ Crew, I think is the brand. This will be just fine. It has everything in it that we need for now, and if not, we'll figure it out. But for now, for looking at things, my husband's digital microscope will be fantastic. I really like using that thing. And so we have this little guy. He doesn't weigh anything, and pretty much everything we need. So with that, and with Botany, I got these to grow seeds. So there's little, I'm not going to open these, but they're little glass vials. And you put hydrogel into them and water and a seed. And the reason why you do that is you're not actually planning on doing much to this. The seed's going to die eventually. You'll let it grow to a certain point, but it's so that we can watch everything grow from the bottom, from out of the bottom of the seed to the sprout of the first leaves coming up out of the hydrogel. We want to be able to see everything, and then we want to be able to rinse it all out and put it underneath the digital microscope or this microscope and investigate it. Oh, and then this one, this is cool. Morgan uses this a lot outside. I actually don't know. She knows how to use it, but I haven't used this. It's a field microscope from also IQ Crew. Morgan can just shove it in her backpack and run around outside, and whatever she wants to see more of, if it's a bug or whatever, she can put it underneath here and look at it and see it better. So this is kind of neat. I don't know how we'll use this, but I thought I would show it if you're interested in nature studies or something. We have our tried and true pencil lineup. This is Prismacolor for light shading on skin, and Morgan's got all the rest of the skin tones in her room. Then here is a charcoal pencil, and I showed you these last year. These have worked really well. We got a lot of use out of these. I feel like they should be down to the nub. but maybe, I don't know, maybe they were this long when we bought them. I don't know. But this is Staedtler, and it's got everything from, what is below H? It's got the lightest all the way to 8B, which is very, very heavy. And then these are, of course, the Blackwing pencils that I really like. And these are retractable pencils with no attachment you can't hang them on anything. So I bought these are 0.7s, and I liked these so much last year that I got a 0.5 and a 0.3. So these work really well. I love them. They're streamlined, they're simple, and they're not bulky. And then these are my tried and true also. I got a lot of tried and true stuff. My rulers, a plastic one, and then this one is kind of sharp, actually. The sharp part should go down here. My metal ruler, my 6-inch ruler. And then this is just a watercolor pencil that I had in here. For art, we have a lot of mold making tools. For clay, these you can get anywhere. Just Google mold making tools, or all of the craft stores have them. Here's a permanent marker. And then this is to rehydrate watercolor. So if you have dried paint on a plate, you just hydrate it. Sorry about the dog hair. It's just permanent around here. You spray, and then it just quickly hydrates your ink. So we got these. They're no-name brands. You can buy expensive ones, but why? We got 5 for like $5. No, I think it was 5 for $3. You can get these anywhere. And then these are watercolor brushes that you fill with water, and then you can squeeze the water out and you can work them, and it works really well. We love these. We travel with these. These are really fantastic. And then here are all of our permanent ink pens. So we like a lot of permanent ink. And my all-time faves are a brown uni pen, and actually it's sepia. And then I love these Tombos. There's a soft tip and a hard tip, but they feel like real fine but tough paintbrush. And we just like them. So this is all, you can find all of these. There's Staedtler, there's Micron, there's Pentel, Tombow. I've got kind of pretty much all of the brands here. And that's kind of it. Other than, I think if you're gonna travel with paint, I got this at Target. I think this is what people use for, I don't know. This was in the travel section, but this I found worked really well. If you put some of these in here and this, and you piled in all your stuff. And then here's my travel kit. Here's my travel kit that I replaced with my own paints instead of Winsor & Newton. And then I just jam that in there and ready to go. So we do a lot of stuff for traveling. So that's what we continue to use for that. Here is a little bit of a change that I plan on doing with our planner. So I don't have a formal planner. This was the traveler's notebook that I had made myself after I watched a YouTube video on how to do it. And you'll have seen this a whole bunch of times because these were our planners. And in it we had done, this was how we did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And what we did throughout the week, we would dot what we did. And then this was the month, or the month version of what we did during the months. And this is how I took attendance. So I didn't really need a whole lot. And then I just placed everything for historic value, and because we like some of the things that are in here, into a binder and then filed it away. But then this year, I love this, but traveling, we're really trying to travel more. And we backpacked. When we went to France, we actually backpacked. We didn't have the suitcase on wheels. We had a backpack each. That's all we had. And so I want to teach Morgan to travel like vagabonding, if you've read the book, how to travel light, fast, easy, not drag stuff around with you, learn how to wash your own clothes so you don't have to carry a whole bunch of them. And so this was my idea, to do the passport size version instead of the larger traditional size. And so I made this one also. And then I had shown these last year, the daily planners from Pen & Gear that I bought at Walmart. And I never used them, but I wanted to really badly. I just didn't need them at the time, or I could have, but it was redundant because I had this. So now that I decided, well, I'm gonna wait because I really like these. I just can't use them now. And so I decided that I'm going to try downsizing to even this as a planner. And the nice thing about this is each one of these is 1 month. So once it's done, you put it away and you bring a new one in. So that's the idea. And I find that it's got adequate space because this page, these 2 pages isn't just for a week. This is just 1 day. That's all I need for 1 kid. If you have 6 kids, this will not work for you. But this, I really am trying to be more of a minimalist about things. And then if we're traveling, we can take this with us and it won't run out because I don't plan on being gone for more than a month, that's for sure. And that's all we need. And then here I purchased the passport size, the Midori Traveler's Notebook passport size, essentially what the, when I had my attendance, this will be the attendance then, and the addition or the calculation of the days, total days, will have to be along here so this will be July, because I want to count French, the 3 weeks that we did French immersion. Those are school days. We worked hard. Morgan was in immersion in French for 3.5 hours a day. And then on top of that, we did geography. So those were the 2 subjects. They were intense. And so I want to count those days. And then, so this is July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We won't do school in June. Here is where I will calculate all of our days. So that's the plan for that. And then because we are a portfolio state, I've already started our 6th grade portfolio and put away our 5th grade portfolio and have already begun populating. So in the back here, I have a tab, or will have a tab for every subject. And in the back, the very back, has things like mandatory shot records and I always reprint, even though they don't change very frequently, I always reprint a copy of North Dakota law and what is required of me, and I place it in the back for just like quick use so I don't have to wonder which book it was in. It's always in the current book. Also, a copy of my intent to homeschool that I supply to our school. So that's just, I like to do the administrative stuff in the back as well. So I keep this and I always have it next to me, and any loose stuff automatically gets 3-hole punched and thrown in. And then if I need to cull it down, then I do, but I always have it here, and this is always near where we are. And that just keeps everything really, really easy for me to make a really fabulous portfolio for me, not just for the state, but to have something that I can look back on and go, oh yeah, we did that, or we did this, or it really helps. If you're not a portfolio state, you should have a portfolio and you should take it seriously. I don't do a lot of shoulds. I don't tell you what to do a lot, hardly ever, but this helps. It makes you look legit. I think it's important to be a professional homeschool, and it really helps for if you forgot, because it's impossible. I can't remember, and I've got 1 kid. So if you have multiple kids, you just can't remember stuff. Or did they get the shots? Or did I submit my notice? Or have they completed this? It's all here, especially if you think, oh, well, I don't remember what we did last year with this subject. Well, go back and look, and it should be in there. Okay, before I flip the camera back around again to show you the books that I have in mind for some read-alouds for the 6th grade and some things on Morgan's list that I would like her to read. I like that she likes the books that I choose. So last year I had mentioned that I had noticed on our bookshelf of books that it's suggested to read, or things that she has chosen. She usually chose the book that I had suggested, or from the books that I had suggested, rather than her books. So that's very encouraging to me. I want to keep a good long TBR for her of really great books. Reading is one of our core. So math, reading, and French is our core, and that's foundational for us. And not ELA, but reading specifically. And I feel like I tested. We test every year, and I feel like just focusing on reading is really helping to drive all the other parts of ELA. Therefore, one of the things you had asked, am I rethinking anything or changing anything? I may pull off still all of the other things with ELA that I had chosen in my curriculum picks, because I don't know that I need them. I mean, we need the parts of ELA, but I don't need that. I don't know that I need them specifically if I'm doing reading the way we're doing reading. That's not going to work for everybody, but as long as I'm seeing a progression in test results that is indicating that I'm doing reading the right way, that means that we don't have to do other workbooks, then I'm not going to do other workbooks. So I may pull those off of the shelf completely and not do them. But also, one of also a foundational thing is that I have only one rule for reading, and that is if you don't want to read the book, DNF it, which did not finish, in like booktuber language. But if I don't care if Morgan DNFs a book, I just don't care. I care that she reads. And all of the books in this house are books that I think are a great idea to read. So if she's reading, and everything in the house is read worthy, I don't care. So I wasn't sure how that would work, that rule of mine. And again, I think it's kind of specific to us and how we are, but it's phenomenal for us. And that's what we're doing. So when I show you some of the books that we're thinking about, they're all great books. They're a great idea. And all the ones that you probably have on your shelf are a great idea. But if we're just not feeling it, if we just don't want to read that book that seemed like a good idea to have on our TBR 2 months ago, but we're just, I don't know, now we want to go in this direction and this direction. Part of it is driven by what we've just read as well. And I don't have a crystal ball when it comes to the direction that we need to go in based off of what we're going to read. So with that has worked. So I'll show you a kind of an amount of our books that we're thinking about, but it's not guaranteed that we're going to read them. So she has chosen, where'd it go? I lost it. Okay, I had to find it. She has chosen Judy Blume starring Sally J. Friedman as herself as her first read. And this is because she absolutely loved Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, that we read in the 5th grade. Excuse me. And then we watched the video. We watched the movie, I think, like 5 times at least. We loved it. So that's what she's going to start with. And then for my read aloud, I wanted to mix it up. And I really am kind of here and there with genres. I've thought of themey stuff, and it ends up just not working because we're kind of over it and we want to move on to something else. But I loved this book, and I want to try it out and see. I'm pretty sure Morgan will like it. And this is Catherine Stockett's The Help. Well, we all know what it is. We've probably everybody has seen the movie too. But the book is really good. And I kind of think of Fried Green Tomatoes and The Color Purple when I think of this, because for one, it's a woman author. And all things being equal, I choose the female author first because I'm aware that I'm growing a future young woman. And I'm also aware that historically female voices have been missing. Lots of voices are missing, right? This is just my soapbox. This is the one I choose. And I think you can laugh. You will cry. It's fictional, but it's founded in factual events. And so I think this would be a very interesting beginning, because Morgan has specifically asked for more history also. And so we're going to do more US history, and I can cover that in just a little bit. But first, let me show you the other books that we're thinking about covering in the 6th grade. For summer reads, Morgan actually only finished Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. She was almost finished at the end of 5th grade. And then she was out. She went out, she ran outside, went to the pool, did whatever, but she was not inside. She did a lot of art though. And then I read James A. Michener's The Source, and it's such a huge tome that I didn't get to anything else that was on my list, except for How Cities Work, Suburbs Sprawl, and the Roads Not Taken. I'm personally interested in this type of geography, so it's kind of a nonfiction that might not be up everybody's alley, but I really enjoyed it. And then when my French got better, I got this adorable book from India Desjardins, who is a Canadian author, The Journal of Aurélie Laflamme, and it's adorable. So if you have a student who's 13 and above, probably, actually Morgan would really enjoy reading it too. Probably 11 and above, if they can read something like this in French, then it is just adorable. And it's a sweet story about a girl making it through school with her best friend and the hilarious things that happen. You laugh, you cry. and I loved it so much. There are 9 of them. It takes you all the way from when she's 13 all the way to her first job after college, which I'm excited to read. And then this, of course, is the book that Morgan's going to start with this August, or Monday when we start school, and then this will be our read aloud. These are the books that I am going to suggest Morgan to read. It's all about the story, and I think Junebug would be a really sweet book for her to read. And then she loved the first 2 books of Madeleine L'Engle's, there's 5 of them, I think. This one is Swiftly Tilting Planet, so I suspect she'll read that this year. March, book 1, but I'm not sure if the book 2 is out. This should be a series. I probably should look into that, actually. I'd like her to read March, because as we begin to get into U.S. history, and any and all stuff is interesting to me, and I'd like her to read that. The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. I read this in college. I reread it. I guess I did read more than I thought. I did read this. I did read this in June. Yeah, still good. So I really want to make a point that I have Morgan read books that maybe college students read, but it's not about reading level. It's about the depth of comprehension and understanding. And the reason why I give her these now is so that there are aha moments later, so that connections occur, and that she can read it again. So it doesn't mean that we won't revisit this book again. It doesn't mean this won't be a high school book or a college book or whatever. But that's really the reason why I give all sorts of books, some higher and some lower. The Shadow over Innsmouth, I had shown this before. I want to get into a pulp fiction kick because I like this genre. I meant to buy Tarzan, but I forgot. So I don't have Tarzan in hard copy. But H.P. Lovecraft is firmly in pulp fiction era, and I know that we would like this one. This is kind of a creepy story about fish-like people in a small town that nobody else goes to because it's kind of eerie. The Man in the Queue by Josephine Tay. Josephine Tay is actually, that's not her true name. That's her pen name. It's Elizabeth McIntosh, and she is Scottish. And I thought we would give this a read because we like mysteries. Here's another pulp fiction, The Maltese Falcon. A lot of people have heard of this, by Dashiell Hammett. We never got to this. Fahrenheit 451, dystopia, kind of an original dystopia. So I think that would be kind of neat. Another one, if you have a high school kid, a book to accompany this that's really good is Player Piano by Kurt Vonnegut. Each Little Bird That Sings, and both are from Deborah Wiles. Love, Ruby Lavender. I don't know about these books. I have no idea. So I thought I would just throw them in there and see what happens. Nancy Farmer. This is a Newbery Honor book, The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm, about 3 African kids located in Harare. So that should be really kind of interesting. It's a sci-fi too. It's a sci-fi that takes place in Africa. So I'm really hoping that we like this one. The Enigma Girls, How 10 Teenagers Broke Ciphers, Kept Secrets, and Helped Win World 2. I think this would be really fun. This is by Candace Fleming. The Wednesday Wars, a lot of you know this and already have your kids reading this. And this is an old one from my era, Paula Danziger. The Cat Ate My Gym Suit, and There's a Bat in Bunk 5. This is the first one, and then this is the second one. And this involves a conversation about how other families are different and how they treat each other. So I like the idea of Morgan starting to read stuff like this, that we're not all the same, that families are all different, and what goes on in families is completely different, and we must have compassion for all of those things. There, let's see. Wait, there's more. So, Terrible Maps. My friend, I have to move this out of the way. I'm running out of space. The Terrible Maps is something I got from one of my best friends. She had sent me a picture of it, and some of it is hilarious, like a Southerner's view of the UK and Ireland. So it's tongue-in-cheek, how aliens see Earth. You have to understand geography and culture in order to get some of these jokes. And I love it. I absolutely love it. There's one that's really hilarious. Where is it? Oh yeah, the Domino's Pizza one. Countries that have Domino's Pizza and countries never visited by a sitting president. Coincidence? Essentially. If you don't have a Domino's pizza in your country, we don't have a US president who's going to visit you. But that is really funny humor. And yeah, you'll never look at Australia the same way. I showed this to my husband and he burst out laughing because he agreed he will always look at it this way now. So that's kind of a fun, humorous geography book to read. And it's fast too. One Crazy Summer. Monsoon Summer. I have shown this before and I really want Morgan to start reading it when we do Indian Studies, Ancient India. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe might be one of our reads this year. This I had shown at the end of 4th grade. I read it, Temple Alley Summer by Sachiko Kashiwaba, and it's adorable and sweet and different. It's not like a Western read, and I like that about it. The story is very culturally implicit, and so I think Morgan would like that at the end of, probably towards the summer because it's about the summer. Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. We never got to that, and I meant to. I think I purchased this in the end of the 4th grade. Morgan picked this out of Barnes & Noble. She chose it and would like to read it. Rare Birds by Jeff Miller. And I'll just open up the inside here because I don't know anything about this one, and she picked it, and we'll see how it goes. The 47 People You'll Meet in Middle School. We both saw that and thought it was a funny title. So we got sucked in by essentially marketing and art and illustration because, here, I'll show you the back. We don't know anything about it, but we think it'd be really fun to give it a shot. Now this, because you all know I'm a betting woman here, I think the Golden Compass, Philip Pullman's Golden Compass, is going to be one of Morgan's top reads this year. So we will see. I haven't told her that, so we will see if she likes it. But I'd like her to pick. Maybe I'll kind of time it, just sort of accidentally make it happen so that this is in the winter time, because some of this takes place in winter cold areas, and so that would be kind of fun to do. Okay, a few more I had forgotten about, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird. The jury's still out on when we're going to read this, but it's something that's on my mind and on my list. Now I would like to read this. I make notes for myself so I don't forget, but I would like to do Life of Pi during geography because there are locations in here that would be kind of interesting to map out. But we all know the Life of Pi. We know that it's a movie, and it's also coming out. There's a play also, and it would be nice to be able to read it and then watch the play, and certainly watch the movie. And then A Passage to India, E.M. Forrester. I think this might be, we might listen to this together when we're doing Ancient India Studies. And then this one, I may do, I'm not sure if I may have Morgan, this might be one of her nonfiction reads. And it is A Brief History of Earth by Andrew Knoll. It's small, it's for everybody, it's not just children, but it's got a lot of pictures, enough to keep someone interested, enough to show science and geology, geography, all sorts of things, and history. So I'm hoping that we can put this into our reading group. And then Hidden Systems for Geography also. I like talking about the politics of suburban development and urban development. And this really ties in quite well. Many of you have given this to your children, and because of you, I saw this book, and so I purchased it and decided to read it myself, and I think this will be a really fun read. Again, also for Ancient India, when we do that as a unit study or a main lesson, this really sucked me in. I was surprised. I haven't read the whole thing. I got quite far, and then I ended up having to do something else, but what a great science, history related, real factual story about the people of the Indus. I love it. I think this would be a really fun addition. Now, this was on, I think this new one came out, I want to say this is a year old, or maybe it's 2 years old, but it was $25 or $35, and I got it on Thrift Books for $5. It's in absolute perfect brand new condition. I kind of wonder, do people love buying books like this and then never use them, or do they flip through and they maybe read 2 pages and then that's it? I'm not sure. I hope that we're not that family. Okay, here's the purpose. I've done the math on it, and Morgan can read just 2 pages a day and get through almost the entire book by the end of the 6th grade. Why do I want her to do that? And I want her to do it on her own. I want her to just read these little facts, these little factoids. One, I hate that factoid stuff, but I'm aware that other people don't. And I don't want to just give Morgan stuff that works for me. I want to make sure everything, that I present everything, that things might work for her and not me. So I want to give this to her because there may be things of extreme interest to her now or in the future that this book, by her reading it on her own and learning about what's out there and learning about there's the water world and the water system, maybe it will cause her to ask for something, or it will help later on of, oh yeah, I've already done this, or yes, I already know what a plant cell looks like, or whatever, temperate forests and stuff, because I don't know what she's interested in. And I had my eye on this, but I just wasn't sure if I wanted to use it or not invest so much the money, but the time, or really, quite frankly, the shelf space on something we weren't going to use. But I think if I just have her in the morning with a cup of tea before school really starts, to just curl up and read 2 pages a day, that's it. Just get into a routine. Then what comes out of it, I don't know. I mean, at the very least, she's read an entire kids encyclopedia. That she had to have gotten something out of that. But at the most, maybe it drives a career choice later on, or a direction of study that then drives something in the future. Who knows? So that's what this is for. Okay, so I had mentioned that Morgan had asked for more history, and I do take it seriously, because while our core is math, French, and reading, the things that Morgan asks me for bubble up to reached priority number 1, number 2 immediately upon request, because I'm able to do that. I can move around very quickly and remove and add material within our homeschool without it being disjointed and without skipping anything. It's simply, in my opinion, a positive forward motion towards development in education. It doesn't mean that we're leaving anything out or behind. We may get to it, but there's so much information in the world. If we skip a portion of history or we skip a portion of science, we can pick it up, or it doesn't matter. It just doesn't. We'll begin from square one in the 9th grade of everything anyway. So right now in the middle school years, I think, and I do treat the 6th grade as middle school. I really do think mentally and emotionally, and the things going on there, we're going into middle school. We have left elementary. We have left the building, literally. Okay, so she wants more story of the world, and that's what we will do. And I have always done this as a read aloud. This generates so much conversation, and I think that's also a reason why she likes it, is because it gives her ideas and she learns, and then we can pause and she can ask questions, and we speak at length about certain things, and then she's ready. Then she says, can we keep reading? And then I move on. And that's how we progress, sometimes very slowly through history because of that. Or is it very slowly? I don't think so. I think it's very thoroughly, not slow. But on top of that, this was the year that I wanted to bring in more American history. I'd kind of been waiting because I've had trouble figuring out what kind of book I wanted. And this was the one that I wanted to start with for the kind of the little guy. I want to talk about the little guy. And so Howard Zinn does a pretty good version of this. His adult version I've read twice, and then this is the kids version. And I had mentioned that I thought I might get a second book because I've marked this up considerably, so this will be mine, and I've tabbed it out to cover the first half in the first semester and the second half in the second semester. But I bought a second book because I'm thinking about doing this as a read aloud as well, like I do with this one, but having Morgan at least read along with me, because I want her, if we're discussing something, if you've listened to something, somebody's read something to you, you can remember it. A lot of people remember things really well that way, but it is harder to find it. If you can't remember it, it's sort of, oh, where was that? Where did I find that? Where did I see that? So I want the visual, in this case, attached to the audio here. So for what she hears, I want her to read aloud or read along, and she can read aloud too if she wants to share in that task. But then if I ask her a question, unlike here where she can't remember and I kind of have to jog her memory, or we discuss it more, or I'll show her the page and she has to go look for it. Here, I'm going to test it. And so if I ask her questions or she's looking for something, I suspect because she visualized it, she read it along with me, that she'll more quickly find it in the book to be able to answer a question or to remember something. So that's sort of why I have the second book there. And another thing that Morgan has asked, she had asked for, I think in the end of the 4th grade, and we did it in the 5th grade. She wanted more autonomy with something. She wanted more independence. And so I thought, and I think I referenced this, it's writing, and I referenced it as a high stakes, low risk type of thing to give to your kid as something that they can learn on their own, or not necessarily on their own, but more independently and with guidance rather than with teaching. So I kind of looked around, and Morgan is asking for that more. I chose writing again because she has that wonderful green journal. I don't have it here. It's in the other room, but it was her writing journal, and we got to the point where she had more in her mind than she could get down on paper because of her hands, because handwriting is slow and difficult, right? You get achy hands and it's very slow. And so our writing got bogged down last year because we were tired. We couldn't get it all out of our brains fast enough. So I thought, well, why don't I look for a writing program that is short and easy for her to do herself, and then attach typing.com to it. So then she can practice typing, and then as she's starting to do her creative writing, she can type it out and write more, because I really want to see more on the page. She's already writing enough for a 4th or 5th grade, but I know there's more in her mind, and I would like to see what that is. So with that, I had picked accidentally, don't make fun of me because I really am going to be truthful about this. I was looking into IEW, and I'm still kind of really on the fence about such a structured program at this age with a kid who already likes to write and is doing just fine on her own, but maybe needs a little bit of guidance, not a lot of guidance. And so I was typing in IEW to learn more about it, and accidentally clicked on EIW, Essentials in Writing. So, boy, was that an opportune moment for them, for that company, because the EIW, I got level 6, but you can't really, I'll flip around maybe, or maybe I won't. Maybe I won't flip the camera and show you. Or maybe I'll just peel all of my sticky notes off so you can see the cover of it. Let's see. I got level 6. There's 2 parts. There is level 6 Essentials in Writing, and then there's Essentials in Literature. We're not doing the literature because I like to pick my own books, and that's why literature programs, other people drive me crazy. Even though they're very, very good, they're not necessarily the books that I simply want us to read in the moment. But because of that, I only wanted the writing program. And here's another thing, is there's some writing programs, many, are too long and involved. The whole year they take up, and that's also not what I wanted. I wanted a supplement to my kid. I didn't want a huge, massive year curriculum, Monday through Friday. I didn't want it that regimented. That really kind of powers down the creative writing process, in my opinion, in this homeschool. Essentials in Writing is geared towards, well, I mean, anybody can do it, but it's also, I kind of equated, if you know math, Denison math, it's for kids who might struggle and need help to get better, and then they get better with this kind of assistance. And because of that, they are bite-sized portions of little courses, a little video, and then you go and do the exercise, which is exactly what I was looking for a creative writing kid who just wants to write creatively. And I don't think we need a lot of structure right now. So I looked through the videos and I read a whole lot about it, and I thought, I think this is really cool, but still it's too long. And then I saw a schedule where you can squidge it into 18 weeks instead of 36 weeks. So we're going to do level 6 Essentials in Writing in 18 weeks, Monday through Thursday, and all squished in together, and finish it this semester. And then use the knowledge that we have with it. There's grammar too. There's 2 units. Unit 1 is grammar and unit 2 is the writing process of all types of writing. But, oh, excuse me. I knew I was going to do that eventually. Let's see, where was I? I always forget where I am when I do stuff like this. Oh, okay. So the idea is that by the time we are at Christmas, then Morgan can take her knowledge, and there's grammar in here as well. So there's a little bit of review because we did not do grammar in the 5th grade because we did a ton of it in the 4th grade. So we took a break. And so now this is review. And in the 2nd semester, then we can do typing and more creative writing. So then Morgan can get back to creative writing and writing a whole lot more with a little bit more knowledge in her background now because of essentials in writing. So I don't know how this will work. I'm really banking on it being good. I really do want it. I want it to work. And a second thing that I had added on because of last year, we were doing a lot of art because of Waldorf, and it was taking a long time. So I'm going to get faster with Waldorf art in our main lessons. But the amount of art that we did has shown me that Morgan wants to do more art. So she does a lot of art, like a ton. So I thought, well, I don't want to add art onto the subject. I want art to be its own subject. So one of the YouTube channels that I watch is a abstract artist named Marabeth Quin. She has it's a $99 course on color, how to create color with watercolor. And it's not meant for kids. It's a serious professional adult painting course. But I looked at it and I love Marabeth Quin. I think she's fantastic. She speaks really well. I thought, well, gosh, she's just the perfect person to follow with a color study. So I thought I would do a color study with Morgan. I started doing it on my own and I thought, well, I'm going to wait because this is fun. There's printouts and everything and ideas and stuff. And we can spend several weeks probably on Friday. We'll do a course. Each course we'll do on Friday. And then the rest of the week, I will just leave Morgan to do whatever art it is that she wants to do. I remain in creative works. I choose to remain very unstructured and very supportive. So that also covers the creative writing portion. I don't want to put too many parameters on something any kid is naturally fine doing on their own with support and a little bit of guidance, but not a whole framework. I don't need a whole framework around that, at least not now and at least not with Morgan. So that's where we are with that. And those are the 2 additions. And well, I had mentioned that we had already been in school for 3 weeks. So we did 3 weeks of French immersion in France and are tired. So this week we've taken off and are recovering from jet lag and just literally doing nothing, like nothing. Then we will start on Monday, we'll start homeschool. But the 3 weeks of immersion was really pretty incredible in that it solidified my conviction that a foreign language is necessary. It's helpful and it's necessary. And I'm going in the right direction. It also really boosted Morgan's confidence in speaking because here in North Dakota, there's no one to speak French to other than me. And I'd rather there be other people involved as well. Language is a community process. It involves a community because language needs a community in order to survive. And so having Morgan go into immersion really boosted her confidence, but also 2 of the things she was lacking for listening, speaking, reading, and writing, the 4 foundations or the 4 pillars of language. She was missing the speaking and the writing, which is very natural. I feel really good going into this year now with my thoughts on languages and what we're doing. And I did make a mistake. So Morgan is taking the Well-Trained Mind Academy French, but I said she was going to French 1. She's going to French 2. I misread how the system works in the Well-Trained Mind Academy, and it's her only online course. It starts with French 1A and 1B. Those are for younger kids. That means that if you take a 1A and 1B, that's French 1. So I thought that you did 1A and 1B and then went into French 1. But since Morgan did 1B, she doesn't go into French 1, she goes into French 2. So now I've got this whole thing because I had a video of like where we were going to go with French, which means that she will, if we stay with Well Trained to Mind Academy, she will tap out in the 9th grade with French 5. So I need to figure out, and I've got time. Thankfully, I've figured these things out that early, so I have time to find the solution, which means 10, 11, and 12, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with her for French. And then by then, she should be really ready to start studying French literature, start treating French not as a foreign language, but as a near native language that we can then branch out and read French books. And then it can be its own course other than just language. It can be a subject within the language, which is my goal. Because in the 8th grade, I would like Morgan, she does have the option. She doesn't really have the option to quit French. I have the responsibility to make sure that she wants to continue to take French. And so far, she loves it. So that's a big deal. But I'd like her to continue on French until the 12th grade. And she has the option to pick up a 3rd language starting in the 8th grade. And yeah, that's where we are. We're doing great. I did say though, in one of my videos that I was worried about her testing in the DELF. And I talk a lot about that in past videos that you can look up, but my French professor, I was in an adult course while she was in the A2 course, if you know the DELF levels. So I was speaking at length with my French professor, who told me, don't worry about Morgan. Don't think about the DELF because of the age that she's at. Think of it as long as she loves the language and she continues on with the language, she will get to the point where she's at the age, because they have DELF exams for younger kids. But she said, why do that? Don't bother to do that. Just keep her on this track that you have her on. And then when she's at the age of an adult DELF exam, then you can begin to test. But then she doesn't need to take the A1. She can just straight up she won't even need to take the A2, because they're several $100s an exam. I could feasibly, by the 9th grade then, she could just go do a quick immersion course for a few weeks to really get herself going. And then they can give her what they call a white paper test, which is the exam. It's a formal exam, but of an older test. And it's with a certified French DELF grader, but it's not the exam. So you don't necessarily get the certificate. So it's a white paper test, sort of like a test run. Sort of like if you take the SATs a couple of times before you really take the SAT, or you take an SAT course before you take the real SAT. She had encouraged me to think in that way instead, to keep it as light and fun and keep going in the direction that I'm going, and then have Morgan test in the 9th grade for B1, because then that avoids, I think that, what is that, like $900? Because I think it's $300 a test, but I haven't really looked into it that far. But a lot of this stuff in the summer changed my mentality. A few things actually, because in my class there was a Russian. They were all adults or very near adults, but they were all advanced French speakers. I had a Russian, a Japanese diplomat, a Turkish businessman, 2 Italian businesswomen, a Romanian woman, a Swiss student who had to take extra courses so that she could test in B2 later in Switzerland, and a German lady who was there with her 2 children who were also taking French. And it was just really interesting to talk to people who were looking to do the same thing with their kids or with themselves as me. And so it caused me to come back and think more about my own curriculum here with Morgan. What is it that I am doing? Am I doing it right? Do I need to do all of the things that I'm doing, or can some things take a back seat so that we can focus on others? I don't know. I kind of am all over the place now, and so I think it's better for me to just say that and let you know that I am the type of person who will not stay a course that doesn't need to be stayed on. I will step off the track and pivot pretty quickly. That some people, I think it gives them the idea that I'm fickle, of more like, shiny object of, ooh, what's that? What's that? I'm more directional than that. I'm more of a, well, that was a good idea, but given this new information, it would be an error for me to stay a course that now, with new information, I now know that I don't need to go in that direction. I can go in this direction. To me, that is simply growth and positive forward movement. But then as a homeschool mom, I need to also remember that those things that are going on in my mind, when they translate to physical curriculum and an actual schedule, they need to be seamless to my kid. They need to look like they're not just being jerked around, right? It's not like this curriculum and that curriculum, this curriculum. But I'm really good at that. So I'm very, very good at making things transition smoothly so that it always looks like to Morgan, although I'm kind of disjuncted, what is the word? I've got this disjunctive ideas sometimes, but when they come together, I make sure not to to dump it all on her and go, we're not doing any of this anymore. It's more seamless. And I think that as a homeschool, I think anybody doing anything professionally needs to make sure that when they do it the right way, whatever the right way is. And so that's kind of where I am now, is thinking that instead of telling you what I'm going to do this month and then come back in September and go, yeah, we didn't do any of that, then what's the point of this video? What was the point of all that, of you listening to this? The point now is I'm in flux, and we have all of our resources, and I'm responding to what my kid wants and needs, and my state tests, or the nationalized tests that we do, because we're a testing family, I like to test Morgan, shows that what we're doing is working, even though it is, I guess, out of the norm. But isn't every homeschool mom kind of out of the norm? Aren't you all weird? You're all weird, right? You're weird like me. I'm just going to assume that the ones who are watching this channel know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, leave now, run, go find another channel. So this is kind of me trying to explain what is going on and what happens when you need to transition, and that I'm okay doing that. I think I do that all the time. We do that daily and just kind of work through stuff. Oh, one thing though. So before I think let's see what's first week schedule. Before I go flip the camera around to show you my idea of now what our first week schedule back in the States is going to be like, as well as, what's the other thing? Revisiting our motto and our statement, which I'll just quickly revisit it because it hasn't changed, which is really cool. So in 4th grade, 5th grade, and now 6th grade, our motto and our mission statement so far has not changed. I don't want to forget to mention this though, and that is that of all of my classmates, there was the genuine belief that, because I was the only American in the class, that all Americans ban books, and that all banned books are not available in the United States. And I kind of had to, keep the shocked look off of my face and not laugh, because we were in a discussion over, we talk about all sorts of things at the B2 level it's not really a class, it's more like an in-depth discussion with a professor-led assistance to correct or discuss grammar. And there's no English all day, which is phenomenal. There was very little English in Morgan's class too. So that's what immersion is. You can do immersion even like at the very beginning when you're a non-speaker. But so the topic of literature came up, and then that morphed into this, and that morphed into this, and then they all looked at me, and suddenly we were talking about banned books. And as soon as the discussion of banned books came up, it was, everybody look at the American girl, because that's what we do here. And I was genuinely surprised that they really did believe that banned books are not available in the United States. So I had the interesting challenge of explaining in French how book banning works in the United States. They know why, they don't know the how. And they don't fully, not everybody understands the whole local government, state government, federal government. It's every country is different. So I had to explain a little bit of that just because a book is banned in a library in this county doesn't mean that you can't get it at the library in this county. So it's county based, it's state based, it really does depend. But then they said, yeah, but so can you can get the book, you can get the book in this town, but you can't get the book in this town. And this is libraries and schools that we're talking about. But they really did think that banned books were not available for purchase even in places like Barnes and Noble or Amazon, that an American couldn't purchase that. Wow. That I'm really glad that I was able to share with as many people as possible, not in the United States, that is not the case. And then of course they wanted an opinion on it. And so I gave them an opinion on it. But what I did was I made sure to provide, I really want, if we export certain ideals, I'd really like it to be done in a thoughtful manner, that I don't want to downplay or denigrate the people, my people. All of the Americans are my people, whether I like them or not, whether I know them or not, whether I agree with them or not. You're all my people. And I might not agree with book banning. I do agree with not sharing books with children that are inappropriate at their reading level. And I don't think that requires us to ban a book, but other people do. But we still have the First Amendment right in this country, and that is what I liked to explain, that we're a whole bunch of nutty people in this country, and we, darn it, are going to do it our way. And that translates into really strange media also for a lot of people overseas. So anyway, I wanted to leave you with that because I wasn't sure how much anybody knows, because I was shocked, and that was something, even at my age, I learned something new. So I will flip the camera around and show you what my tentative idea for the first week is. That just like last year, I sort of did incremental steps where we do introductions to things, and then we do our core. We start our core, always start our core, and then begin to move up and on. For instance, botany is the start of our science, and next week, while we won't get too much into botany, we're planting seeds, because later on in botany, I've got some things that we need to do, and if we don't plant the seeds, we won't be able to get to that portion of botany, where it's the research and it's the taking apart of the roots and stuff like that we have already grown. So yeah, all right. I thought I would show you what I mean by needing to start some things next week, even though we won't get to them until the end. So this was the botany book that I had been starting for our main lesson for Waldorf style learning. And I had shown you this at the beginning or the end of last year because I needed to start on it. So I've done several of the pages. I kind of got sidetracked doing other things like my own art. This is the order in which we will do botany, and these are place savers because she's already started her herb garden she started everything from seed in March. And the only thing that didn't work out was the lavender, so we had to buy the lavender. It just doesn't do very well in this climate, and certainly not in the current humidity. But these are things that now she's learned so much from just trying to grow seeds. For instance, the catnip that she started for her cat, out of all of the seeds that she used the entire packet and only got one to germinate. But now that one is like a weed out back. It's maybe a 4x4 foot area. So she's learning so much from doing. And then what we do is each of her herbs, I've got a spot for her herb, and the herb, some information on the herb, and then what she's made with it, either a salve, or dried catnip for her cat, or a tincture or a balm, and she will have at least one recipe per herb. But since this is in chronological order, I've kind of planned it out of this is what we're going to do per day, or per few days, every other day, but at least the order in which we're going to do it. It's back here that I have the seed sprout experiment. So while that's way in the back of botany, we need to start the seed sprout experiment now, because the idea is to take a photograph of the seeds every day or every other day, however we want to do it. And then we need to plant a monocot and a dicot so that Morgan knows the difference between those two things. And then we want to use those plants and also the herbs from her garden we want to use that plant tissue under the microscope and draw a cell diagram. So we want to actually use what we've grown in our experiments. I kind of need to do some botany at the beginning of, or the first week of school, although we're not really going to start the science until later. And then in an effort to kind of move Morgan towards reading more of her own stuff, because we love to read, moving subjects into her reading category, like science, like history, it's all reading. So why not put that into her reading schedule or her TBR? So this is kind of an example of what I'm thinking about for her being able to read a botany book on her own. I've read this whole thing, and I think I've tabbed it. I haven't annotated it. I didn't annotate it on purpose, but I tabbed a lot. I have tons of sticky notes, and I've got notes. I didn't want to annotate a lot because I didn't want it to distract from Morgan's reading experience. And the same with this for how she'll use the books for her herbal garden, or to do something with her herbs in her herbal garden. And you've seen all of this, but this is sort of why I didn't actually read a lot over the summer, is because I was doing more of this studying for school than personal reading. Before we even homeschooled, I asked Morgan to help me come up with a name and a motto, because I thought that would sort of, in a way, legitimize what we were doing in her mind, and also lend some kind of good feeling towards homeschooling. And so we had come up with this a couple of years ago, before the 4th grade, before we even started homeschooling, the Patterson Academy Homeschool for the Smart, Funny, and Adventurous. We still love it. We still talk about it. And every time one of us says it, we laugh. So that's definitely us. And then our MO is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I really do believe that I don't go, I mean, we talk about grades and we talk about finishing curriculum, et cetera, but on a day-to-day basis, I just don't care. We just move. We plod forward. If something takes us a while on one day, it probably won't. Something similar will not take us that long the next day. And so all I care is we just move slowly in the direction that we need to go. And we chip away at it, and little by little. Honestly, several people have asked me how we have done so much curriculum, or so many things in the school year. And it's slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I don't jam it in on purpose. We just go through everything, and it totally works. I live by it. Our core values I got from the Navy: honor, courage, commitment. They still hold true to me, and I discuss them with Morgan as well. I think you can't go wrong with having all three of those things. So our first week here, I've got Monday through Friday set up, and Monday is real softball. So I'm going to make sure that Morgan can log into her account for French class in the afternoon, so she has French 2 in the afternoon with a well-trained mind. So first thing we'll do is log in, and then we like to play chess, and so I thought I'd kick it off with a game of chess after breakfast. I would do an intro to our new read aloud, maybe even listen for a little while, or listen during breakfast. And then I wanted to sit down and talk about expectations, because as we get older, I think, want more responsibility, and therefore with more responsibility comes, I think, a friendly discussion of expectations and what do those responsibilities mean, and what is it. Also, on the flip side, is what is expected of me? What does Morgan expect of me? Because this is a group effort here, and I think it's really important for kids to understand that it's okay for them to have expectations of their elders, and that we need to be held to them as much as kids need to be held to theirs. So then I'd like to review all of our subjects and walk through any curriculum that Morgan hasn't seen before, and just chat with her about it. Some math review, because I know we will have forgotten a lot about fractions, so I want to review that. And then her French class that's a real hard stop, so we have to stop at a certain time because she's got French at a certain time. And I do want to do EIW, the writing and the typing. It shouldn't take long. It's just an intro, and then I want to do an intro to typing, which she's seen before, but I want to get into the habit of doing some quick typing, probably in the morning, to just practice 5, 10, 15 probably just 10 minutes a day of practice. And then in the evening, it'll be the evening read, Morgan's book that she chose. She can read in the evening, and we'll start yoga as well. So then the rest of the week is still pretty easy, but I bring in, so we will always do our core. So we always have reading, which is the read aloud and the quiet reading. And we will always have math, and we will always have French, because even we've got French Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we've got review here and homework and practice and reading and that type of thing. I actually should have written that here and here. And then what I have added is history. So here will be world history, and I think, do I have another history? Yeah, and then this will be the US history kickoff. So probably history of each one once a week. So it'll be world history, US history. And then that's it. The rest is pretty much similar until we plant seeds here on Tuesday, so that we can be ready for botany in a few weeks, when we start taking the plants apart and looking at them under the microscope. And then health, we always do health on Friday. So this will be, I want a nice simple intro. I did that last year and it worked really, really well. And I also am aware that we just did 3 weeks of pretty intense school, and then we've got this week off, and then we will ease back into our homeschool. For those of you who are really interested in foreign languages like me and want to know more about the French immersion, please do email me, because I can probably set up within the next month or so some kind of group Zoom where you can directly ask me questions and I can talk to you about it, so I can give you more information that way than on a public video. Just email me and let me know. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful first month of your school year. See ya.